There is no such thing as the 6 stages of evolution. They're just not a thing. Now, we have science to explain each one of the things that Kent is saying that we don't. These are the Big Bang Theory, various nucleosyntheses, observed star formation, the scientific method itself, and the theory of evolution and the theory of evolution again. Those are the actual science behind those 6 different stages that Kent has made up. So, as you can see, only the last 2 are the theory of evolution. The first 4 are just straight up not evolution at all. These are not stages of evolution, these are just different scientific theories. So, the question then becomes, why would Kent create this obviously false straw man of evolution that nobody teaches? No evolutionary biologist or physicist or any scientist of any kind would agree to this idea of evolution having these 6 stages. So why is it that Kent created and popularized this idea? I think that there are several parallels with Scientologists and psychiatry. Here are some. Scientologists reject the science of psychiatry and propose a supernatural alternative. Scientologists blame psychiatry for 20th century wars, 9/11, and the Holocaust. That's true, surprisingly enough. They think it's the psychiatrists at fault. And L. Ron Hubbard even claimed that psychiatrists were behind a global conspiracy to hide the truth of Scientology to establish a Marxist one world government. Hubbard viewed Scientology as the superior alternative to psychiatry, which he viewed as a dangerous rival religion. Now, obviously, on the other hand, the parallels are obvious. Kent Hovind rejects the science of evolution and proposes a supernatural alternative. Kent Hovind blames evolution for 20th century wars and even the Holocaust. I went to Dinosaur Adventureland myself. I saw the signs that are posted everywhere talking about how Hitler was inspired by evolution to do the Holocaust. It's an almost perfect parallel. Hovind claims that evolutionists are behind a global conspiracy to hide the truth of God. That's why they want to propagate this idea of evolution, because it's supposed to lead people away from the truth of young earth creationism, God's word. And they want to, he thinks, establish or have already established, I don't know, a one world Marxist government. He talks about the Marxist, communist, evolutionists a lot. And Kent Hovind views young earth creationism as the superior alternative to evolution, which he views as a dangerous rival religion. Kent is always saying evolution's a religion, as if religion is some sort of insult, and says, evolution is a dangerous, a dumb cult. I mean, you already heard it here tonight. So I don't think it's going overboard to say that, Kent is obviously pushing a cult ideology where he's portraying these 6 stages of evolution, which are just patently a straw man and not true. So what does the actual evidence show? On one hand, we have the 6 stages of evolution in quotation marks, obviously, versus the 6 days of creation. As I think it's obvious why Kent wanted evolution to have 6 stages of creation, to make a parallel to mirror as the 6 days of creation. So let's see what the evidence shows. So here we have the Big Bang on one hand, which you can see the evidence clearly demonstrates. This is just one example of such, the CMB temperature power spectrum, which clearly demonstrates that the universe began 13.7 billion years ago. You can see it precisely in the data, versus a bunch of lines on paper. It just says, let there be light, without any supporting citations or empirical evidence at all. You just have to take the word for it. Similar to chemical evolution, on the one hand, we have nucleosynthesis, like this actual empirically observed data from spectroscopy showing that metallicity, the amount of heavy elements, decreases with higher redshift. Wow, shocker. It's exactly like the Big Bang predicts for nucleosynthesis in stars. Then the other hand, we have day 2 of creation, where God creates the firmament, which is a literal dome over the flat earth. I mean, the biblical cosmology is obviously flat earth. It was written before we discovered the earth was round in ancient Greece, like of Eratosthenes. So the Old Testament is clearly a flat earth text. It even describes the earth as having ends. There are ends to the earth. There are like over 200 Bible verses that point to a flat earth description in the Bible. Then we have stellar evolution. On the one hand, we have observed star formation. Here is an HD picture taken by the James Webb Space Telescope of a star being formed. I mean, Kent said no one's ever observed this. Here it is in high definition. And you can even see the planet protoplanetary accretion disk around it where new planets are forming. We've literally taken pictures of the process happening. Meanwhile, you have on the third day over here, let the earth bring forth grass. So over in the Bible version, we've got grass before we've got stars. Then we've got organic evolution, which is actually the part of this where there is no scientific consensus theory. You just have a series of competing hypotheses. But again, this scientific method is the best track record of discovering truth about the objective reality. So I'm going to go with the scientific method, which is methodologically naturalistic. So that would be abiogenesis. The track record obviously supports, if you're a betting man, which of these you're going to go with, right? Abiogenesis or dividing the firmament up. Then finally, we have macroevolution with the actual theory of evolution on the left, supported by phylogenetics, population genetics, fossil record, paleontology, biogeography, developmental biology, embryology, all manners of different sciences. Here's the evidence that I brought forward tonight, which we could talk about if we have time for. Meanwhile, on the other hand, you have just God using magic to just spontaneously create all these creatures, which doesn't explain at all the order of the fossil record that we see clearly reflects evolutionary changes over time and not a global flood. These things are not arranged according to density, mobility, intelligence, body plan, habitat, or anything that Kent Hovind says. It's like if I just declared that the fossil record is organized by color, anyone could go and check that and see clearly it's not organized by color. I encourage everyone listening, go and check yourself the order that these fossils present. There's a site you can go to in Alabama for those listening that's only a couple miles away from Lenox, Alabama, in Dallas County. And you can go there and you can see the ordering of these fossil layers yourself. And if you want to see the whole geologic column, you can do that. Claims you can't, but you can. You got to go to North Dakota, which sucks, but you can do that. You can see the whole thing. There's an order, and it is not explained by the way that Kent tries so desperately to explain this order. It just utterly fails.